The night before the Iron Bowl, and you have chosen to spend this night with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, and let me tell you, I do not take that lightly. So, with that being said, I introduce you to the hottest ticket of conversation, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, in my own words, here with once again, Touchdown Alabama Magazine with yours truly here in studio, and we got a lot to get to. A lot to discuss, talk about, get into a conversation of, as we are the night before the Iron Bowl, the 85th edition of the Iron Bowl, which will be played on Saturday, which will be tomorrow at Bryant-Denny Stadium, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. CBS will have the call on the matchup. Now, in terms of the show is brought to you by WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That is WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and copy that four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, showing that support to Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and its tradition of dominating, owning the fourth quarter. So go get you that four-finger bling necklace, purchase that four-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. We're bringing you the show from Tuscaloosa, streaming this to you through YouTube. Speaking of a channel, go ahead right now, like the show up, give a thumbs up on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn on all of those notifications so that way you can have the best and alerts here on your Crimson Tide. Not only are we streaming this through YouTube, we got you covered also on Facebook, streaming to all my Facebook people out there and the Twitterverse as well. So YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, no excuse whatsoever for you not to spend your time here on In My Own Words, getting your up-to-the-minute information on your Iron Bowl matchup between Alabama and Auburn. As always, it's a joy to be joined here live by my man John Ivory, the man, the myth, the legend, the maestro in the production studio, dropping those beats as he does all the time. And we got a lot to get to on today's show. A little bit later on, we're going to sit down with Josh Vitale, who covers the Auburn Tigers for the Montgomery Advertiser, part of the USA Today Sports Network. So going to be awesome sitting down with one Josh Vitale later on in the show. But we want you being a part of the conversation. And you can do this by calling 205-448-1358, the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you guys. Ring those phone lines. Ring them up. Want to hear from you tonight on the show, as tomorrow, the 85th edition of the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn. But a smaller update here. So according to the SEC, the Alabama-LSU game, that's back on. The Alabama-LSU game back on for next week, Saturday, December 5th, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time in Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. According to the SEC front office in Birmingham, the announcement came out today. The Alabama-LSU game is back on. So Alabama and LSU did not play on November 14th, but the matchup back on, squared up for Saturday, December the 5th, which that means the Alabama-Arkansas game, which was originally set for December 5th, has been pushed to December 12th. So Alabama-LSU, that game is back on at Tiger Stadium for next week. But beginning now, first topic of conversation on the night, and it goes to the Alabama defense, and in particular, one Pete Golding. So all week, you have heard from the talking heads, Bama Nation. You've heard from the people of national media, and the conversation has been all week, how much improved is Alabama's defense for real? I mean, I understand after the Ole Miss game, Alabama made some adjustments. It looked better against Georgia in the second half, especially. Looked better against Tennessee. Looked better against Mississippi State. Looked better against Kentucky. We have heard the talking heads mention how, Alabama's made some improvement, but how much improvement, how much better is Alabama now defensively than where it was during the Ole Miss game? So we've seen the talking heads converse about this week is the week right here. This is the game because they perceive Auburn as a good football team. They perceive Auburn as having a strong offense. You've got Gus Malzahn, who fancies himself as an offensive savant, an offensive mind, an offensive guru, if you will. And you've got, the weapons of Bo Nix at quarterback. They've got 3 running backs, Tank Bigsby, DJ Williams, and Sean Shivers. At wide receiver, therein lies Seth Williams, Eli Stove, also Anthony Schwartz in there as well. So for a lot of talking heads out there, they see Auburn, good team, really, really good offense. So they're making this game as the litmus test. This game will determine how much better, how much improved is Alabama for real with Pete Golding as its defensive coordinator. Now, the question I have for you, being the Alabama faithful right now, is should Pete Golding, and this is without Nick Saban being in this game. Nick Saban will be at home, resting in isolation and quarantine due to sustaining some mild COVID symptoms, some mild coronavirus symptoms here. So Nick Saban will not be on the field for this game. So should Pete Golding, without Coach Saban next to him, clamp down this Auburn offense? Should Pete Golding shut this offense down, hold it to under 20 points, and Alabama is able to win this game comfortably? Should Golding be able to do this? In your mind, as an Alabama fan, would he have done enough to be the defensive coordinator moving forward? If Pete Golding's able to shut down this Auburn offense, in your mind, has he earned enough of your trust to be the defensive coordinator for the Tide moving forward? Or is it still a situation where you would much rather have a more experienced guy in the room, a more grown-up guy in the room in terms of somebody that has done this at bigger programs, more prominent programs, and has more experience running the defensive side of the football? So that's my question to you, as Bama fans. If Pete Golding's able to shut down this offense, hold it to under 20 points, get some turnovers, frustrate Bo Nix, not allow Auburn to run the football, and the Tide is able to win comfortably, in your mind, has he done enough to be the defensive coordinator for Alabama moving forward? Because I got to tell you, so Auburn at this point, they're putting up 28.6 points per game. They've only had one 40-point game this season offensively. That came against LSU, winning 48-11. Now, the first 3 games of this season defensively for the Crimson Tide, Pete Golding was in a much different, much more complicated, much more concerning situation. Those first 3 games of this season, you're looking at Missouri, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss. The Tide was giving up 30.3 points per game. There were a lot of issues in stopping the running back coming out of the backfield, busted coverages there, and not containing the back out of the backfield on those wheel routes. The interior defensive run was bad against the run, especially against Ole Miss, where you had Snoop Connor and Jerrion Ely both put over 100 yards rushing. It allowed some 100-yard receivers. Anaya Smith at the backfield as a running back, burned the Crimson Tide. And then, of course, in the game against Ole Miss again, you had Elijah Moore and Kenny Yeboah at tight end, both over 100 yards. And then defensively on third down, Alabama could not get off the field. So those first 3 games, your mindset of Pete Golding was he's way over his head. This is too much for him. He's not experienced enough. Bama needs veteran. Bama needs crafty. Bama needs, bigger leadership. Bama needs a guy that's been there, done that, and has called defenses at major programs. There was a lot of concern those first 3 games with Pete Golding as the DC. The last 4 games, it's been a bit of a different tale of a tape here. Against Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Kentucky, Alabama has given up 44 points, an average of 11 points per game. It has not allowed a 100-yard rusher. On third down, it's only given up 10 conversions on 51 attempts. That's 20%. So the defense has gotten off the field on third down. How about 8 forced turnovers, including 3 return for touchdowns. The pass rush has been better, and 11 shutout quarters. 11 shutout quarters of football for the Crimson Tide since the second half of the matchup here against Georgia. So you are seeing here that versus the first 3 games, the last 4 games, we've seen improvement from Alabama. We've seen improvement from Pete Golding. Alabama has been able to simplify the defense. Guys are not thinking as much, but they're getting to the football. They're attacking the football. They're reacting to the play. They're following the flow of plays. You're seeing better pass rush, better discipline on third down, getting off the field. Alabama's been able to stop the run a bit better. It's been forcing turnovers. We're seeing a much more improved Alabama defense the last 4 games of the season, versus the first 3 games. But the talking heads are saying those last 4 games, Steve, Alabama wasn't really challenged. Alabama wasn't really pushed. There was not really any friction whatsoever. So this game against Auburn, here's the test. Here's the litmus test. Here's the challenge. If Alabama can shut down this team, because the media perceives Auburn as being a much better team, if Alabama can shut down this team, if Alabama can shut down this offense, if Alabama can silence the unpredictability and the motions and the maneuvers and the eye candy of Gus Malzahn, if it can force Bo Nix to read zone coverage and disguise the coverage and create some turnovers off him, if it can shut down the Auburn rushing attack, if the defensive secondary can put its bodies on these wide receivers of Eli Stove and Seth Williams, if it can slow down one of the fastest players in college football in Anthony Schwartz, if this Alabama defense can clamp down this Auburn offense, then we can probably look at this Alabama group as being a much improved group. Then we can probably look at this Alabama defense to say it has turned the corner. It has gotten better. It has taken those next steps in the maturation process and trying to be a defense that can contend for a conference championship and a national title. So that's what the talking heads have been saying. They've been saying all week that this matchup right here against Auburn, this is the test, this is the game, this is the situation where if Pete Golding and this defense can go out here and frustrate and shut down and limit the production of this Auburn offense, then we can say that this group has improved. But my question to you as Bama fans is, if Golding is able to do this, shut this team down, clamp this team down, hold it under 20 points, as Coach Saban mentioned on one of his Hey Coach shows, that today's day and age of defense, if you're holding teams between 14 and 17 points or 14 to 20 points, then you're pretty much at the top of the game here in college football. So if Pete Golding can hold this Auburn group under 20 points here, Alabama wins comfortably. To you, would that be enough for you to have you think, okay, moving forward, I would be fine with Pete Golding as defensive coordinator. Moving forward, I would be okay with Coach Golding running this group. For the years to come, it would not bother me seeing Pete Golding operate this defense. Or even if he was to shut down this Auburn offense, do you still feel like Bama still needs an experienced guy in the room? Bama still needs a veteran guy in the room. Bama still needs somebody who has done this for longer term at more so powerhouse programs than Pete Golding. But that's the conversation. That's the question I propose that I offer to you as the Alabama football fan base. We take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting started. Upon our return, we entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your questions, your ideas, your concerns, your super chats. We get to you right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
And we are back into the break here, folks, on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. And it's also Black Friday, so if all of you guys going out there to get those deals there, be sure to get the good deals there on the gifts that you're trying to get for the Christmas holiday season. But it is also the eve of the Iron Bowl. Alabama taking on Auburn on tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff from Bryant-Denny Stadium. CBS will have the call of the game. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to the show on this evening. And before we go to the phone lines to take your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. We got a couple of super chats to shout out here right now. So first and foremost, how about the pimp of the Blue Wrench Gang, Mr. Senator Hines? Senator Hines dropping in that $10 donation there via the super chats, helping us out here at TDA. And I think I see Spencer. Yes, Spencer Reveley, one of our other faithful listeners, part of that Blue Wrench Gang. He's donating that $5 via the super chats, helping us out here on this show. So definitely appreciate Senator and Spencer. But we take our first call of the evening, 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358. You're live on the show. What's going on?
What's going on, Steven? How you doing?
Doing good. How you feeling, Senator? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited about this game tomorrow, man. It's time to get some payback, get some revenge, man. I've been waiting for this day since the clock hit zero last year, man. And just I rewatched the game today, and I was looking at some of the mistakes that we kept making. We beat ourselves out of that game last year with Mac Jones coming in, and he played a very good game, minus probably the two worst passes he's made in his career at Alabama. And even on that play where he had to release it early to Najee on the first interception, on the quick out, if he would have just threw that to the corner of the end zone, we get to fight another play, but those were young mistakes. So I'm just ready, man. I just know it's not going to be the same thing this time around. Plus, we had that young defense last year. We had that young defense. I mean, Christian Harris and what's the guy's name? Shane Lee. They were the starters, and that's the game Benton played. Markel Benton, who's not with the team anymore, he played a lot of snaps that game, man. You remember how many times we got beat across the middle on the little dump passes? Yes. So I feel like it's a whole different energy, a new confidence, a newfound confidence in our defense. And to answer your question, Pete Golding, if he's able to handle this game and, like you said, keep them below 20, I don't think we get to put any much weight behind it. Auburn still has Bo Nix at quarterback. He's not a good quarterback to me. Bo Nix is a game, he's a game style. If you want to play a video game, he's a video game quarterback. But when it comes to actually playing football, making reads on defenses, if Golden puts our defense in a lot of zone blitz schemes, Not doing too much, man, but sending that extra guy from the secondary off a zone scheme. We can mess Bo Nix up because he's horrible in the pocket. I was looking at a graphic they showed probably, I think, yesterday on ESPN or something, and they were saying from the pocket, Bo Nix completion percentage is like 37%, but outside the pocket is like 78%. So it's like you make him read a defense, you're winning that much more of the battle. So, and our defensive backs have shown that they are disciplined in zone coverage. All of the plays, the interceptions that we have in the secondary are off zone coverage reads. The safety being able to sit back and keep everything in front of them. Anytime we leave a safety back there to divide the field up by itself, we find ourselves getting beat. And, they got Schwartz that can sneak out and catch us on those sleepy plays. So I don't put too much weight on him being able to handle this game, especially, this is not his first year anymore. This is his second year. He's had enough big games to go through the bumps. Ole Miss knock on the head was a wake-up call. I don't think we put too much weight on this game, Steve.
I'm excited for this one, Senator. I'm looking forward to this matchup. Definitely, these guys are going to go out there and play for Coach Nick Saban, who will not be on the field in this one. But appreciate the call, my man. You take it easy.
Don't forget to tune in to the live game chat tomorrow. Link is in the description of the video, man. Roll Tide, Steven. Much love, TDA. I'm out.
Appreciate that first call coming in from one Senator Hines, getting us pumped up for the Iron Bowl. We take our second call. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Tomorrow is Saturday. Who did you say we supposed to play tomorrow, Stephen? Who?
We're supposed to play Auburn, Waylon.
Auburn. Where is that at?
It's on the it's on the east side of Alabama, of the state.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm still lost. Oh, is that damn Cal College down there close to Montgomery?
It's in that area. Oh.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I thought. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Gee whiz, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get you in no trouble. I had a little memory lapse there. Sometimes it happens when you get old. But anyway, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Coach Saban says we no longer have to play defense, so we can't play the same defense we used to play. I sure as hell don't agree with that, but I guess that's why he gets paid $10 million. Anyway, I hope that I don't see Auburn beating Alabama tomorrow. I see them scoring 14 points on them more easily. And they're lucky. Remember this, they're the luckiest team in the SEC. So that gives you another touchdown. So I bet just anybody, any amount of money, make it light on your pocket, they scored 21 on Alabama. What do you think?
It's going to be a game. It's going to be an interesting ball game. I think to me, and I've always said this, the test is going to be Bama's defensive line and linebackers. Trust your eyes. You've been playing against Malzahn for a lot of these young men. They've been playing against Auburn for about 2 or 3, some of them even 4 years now. You know what he runs. You know what this team does. Trust your eyes and attack the ball. This defense trusts his eyes, attack the ball, do not bust on plays. It's going to be a good football game.
Well, I hope it's not one of them sitting on the end of your seat games there, because Alabama's got I'm not a coach. I'm not a football player. I'm nothing. I'm just a TV watcher. But Alabama's got more talent in their little finger than Auburn's got on the whole team. So if Alabama gets beat tomorrow by Auburn, I don't really think they deserve to go to a playoff or a national championship game. I'm just going to be honest with you.
I'm going to say this, Waylon. I'm going to say this. With Nick Saban not being out there, this is a team that you're not only playing to make sure that Coach Sark doesn't lose his first game stepping in, but you're playing for our coach, our main guy's not out there. We want to show him that even when he's not on the field, we playing for him.
Oh, I know that's what they want to do. That's what they should do, but they shouldn't lose against this football team because it's just not there. But anyway, you do a great job, everybody in the chat. I see everybody. I'm a true Alabama fan when it comes to Auburn. I'm done. I'm like Coach Brian. I got no use for Cal College. Roses are red. The Gus bus I drive. Heck, they paid me $49 million to go 8-5. That's what I think about Gus Malzahn. I'll see y'all after the game tomorrow. You're doing a good job, Stephen. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate the love that coming from Wayne and being the second call here on a Friday, getting us pumped up for the Iron Bowl, the game on Saturday, that being tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. CBS will have the matchup. Also, if you've called in, go ahead and call back in about 10 minutes. If you called in first, you can call back in the next 10 minutes or hold to the break. We will definitely get to your phone calls. But we got some super chats to shout out here right now. How about William Bryan, who's made his way back in here? William Bryan, that $49.99 via the super chats. Appreciate that from William Bryan. We also have Richard G twice. Richard G donating $10 twice in here. So $20 from Richard G and that $49.99 coming from one William Bryan, showing us the love here. TDA via the super chats. Quick little call segment here. And it goes to an Alabama great by the name of Cornelius Bennett. Cornelius Bennett, one of the greatest linebackers, one of the greatest defensive players, period, to play at the University of Alabama. He played from 1983 to 86 under Walter Ray Perkins, Coach Ray Perkins. And Cornelius Bennett is one of 25 former players in the NFL that's been named as a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame for the class of 2021. Cornelius Bennett, one of 25 former players in the NFL named as a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame for the class of 2021. A huge kudos, a huge congratulations to Cornelius, better known as Biscuit Bennett right there. Had a phenomenal career at the University of Alabama. He was one of the reasons why Derek Thomas, even despite his death in passing, Derek Thomas got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame because in college, Bennett always pushed Derek Thomas, and also the accomplishments that Bennett had, Thomas wanted those. So both guys pushed each other. Bennett really mentored Thomas, and now Derek Thomas watching from above as he wants to see his good friend Cornelius Bennett be the next person to get into that Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he has been named here as one of 25 semifinalists. We take a break here now on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we'll sit down with Josh Vitale, who covers the Auburn Tigers for the Montgomery Advertiser, part of the USA Today Sports Network. We'll talk with Josh to break down the Tigers after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
And we are back in, people. We are back in from the break on the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. It is the eve of the Iron Bowl, 85th edition of this matchup taking place on tomorrow between the Crimson Tide and those Auburn Tigers, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. CBS will have the call on the game. ESPN's College Football Game Day will be in Tuscaloosa. But we go over to the In My Own Words hotline right now. We pick up a guest, an esteemed guest, Mr. Josh Vitale, who covers the Tigers for the Montgomery Advertiser, part of the USA Today Sports Network. Josh, hope that you're doing well. Happy to have you on. How you feeling?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on here. If you're just tuning in, people, we've got Josh Vitale of the Montgomery Advertiser covering the Auburn Tigers, part of the USA Today Sports Network. And Josh, so First and foremost, you look at this game here, 85th edition of the Iron Bowl between these two in-state rivals between the Tide and Tigers. Bo Nix last season got the win in this game, grew up quite a bit in this game, made some throws, made some critical throws, but also made some throws where the receivers bailed him out. He got on the edge and made some plays, extending the play and some big throws there in the passing game. This time around, this season, where have you seen as a sophomore Nix? Where have you seen Nix grow the most as a sophomore at quarterback? And then, number two, what do you see from him in this matchup and trying to sort of make plays again on the edge and get to Alabama again? Where have you seen Nix grow the most at?
I think the biggest area we've seen Nix grow is in his comfort level in the offense. You could tell last year a lot, especially behind a struggling offensive line. He was kind of skittish, like, if there's a little bit of pressure, if things weren't going right, if the first read wasn't there, his first move was kind of duck and run. That was just a freshman playing in the SEC. That's hard to do. This year, it didn't get off to a great start, but as he's grown more comfortable in Chad Morris's offensive system and behind an offensive line that has continued to play better throughout the season, he's more comfortable. He's staying in the pocket. He's looking, through his reads and not just bailing if the first one's not there. And when he is running, he's picking the right spots and making good plays with his feet. So he looks more comfortable. Now, the key going into the Iron Bowl will be whether that can continue. Because a lot of the things that have helped him play so well this year, a very good running game and an offensive line that's playing better, are kind of in question because of some key injuries in those spots. So they're going to see, if they have to lean on Bo Nix more, especially in a game against an offense in Alabama that's probably going to put up a lot of points. If he can continue to play, efficiently and productively as he has the last few weeks.
Now you brought up Chad Morris, an offensive coordinator there, Josh, and Chad Morris and Gus Malzahn, they both go back to being high school head coaches out of the state of Arkansas, and when the move was made by the Tigers to bring Morris in, there was a lot of skepticism, especially with how, Morris did not have the greatest success as a head coach at Arkansas. How has he made Nix more comfortable as a quarterback, number one? And then number two, what type of schemes will Morris in into this matchup against Alabama, knowing that, he and Malzahn kind of share some similarities there?
Yeah, it's the offense is very similar to Gus Malzahn, so it won't look that unfamiliar. Chad Morris did learn a lot of it from Gus Malzahn back in 2003 when they first met as high school coaches. So you'll see, it won't look like a different Auburn offense than Alabama fans have seen the last few years. The things that are different is that the passing concepts are a little more updated. There's a lot more use of the middle of the field with slants, things like that Gus Malzahn did not use. And this season, it didn't start off great. Kind of rocky, especially in that South Carolina game that Auburn lost in Columbia. But the last three games, what you've really seen is Chad Morris and the Auburn offense kind of figure out what its identity is, and that is a power run offense first that can pass off that and take deep shots off that. And it's worked very successfully against Ole Miss, against LSU, and against Tennessee last week. So that's going to be the game plan. Now, as I said in the first question, the challenge is different this time. Alabama is not Ole Miss, is not LSU, is not Tennessee. Alabama has shown that it's head and shoulders above everyone else in this conference this season. So it'll be interesting to see how that offense stands up to the test it's going to face this week.
If you are just tuning into the show, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined here on a Friday on the In My Own Words hotline with Josh Vitale, who covers the Auburn Tigers for the Montgomery Advertiser, part of the USA Today Sports Network. And so, Josh, we make our way now to the running backs, to the backfield, and Auburn, has a stable of backs when you look at Tank Bixby, the true freshman from LaGrange, Georgia, who is having a breakout season. You got DJ Williams, who brings a lot of power. You got Sean Shivers, who's got speed, contact balance, very shifty, kind of a pinball type of back. But I know Bigsby was banged up against Tennessee on last week. He left the game with a lower body injury, did not return. What's the latest on Bigsby and the Alabama rotation there at running back, on the Auburn rotation at running back coming into this Iron Bowl?
Yeah, like you said, Auburn likes what it has at running back. It likes those three players a lot, especially Bigsby, who, like you mentioned, has been a star this season. He leads the team with 530 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. Really come on, especially the last 4 games after not playing as much in the first one. But he is hurt. He suffered what looks like a left hip injury early against Tennessee. He was cleared to return to that game and did come back in for one more play, but clearly still in a lot of discomfort. Came off the field, did not return after that, was ruled out later on. He did not practice Sunday. He did not practice Tuesday. Last update we got from Coach Gus Malzahn on Wednesday was that he is questionable to play. So you got to think at that point, even if he does suit up, he's probably not going to be at 100%. So that's a concern for Auburn because so much of the success they've had recently has been built off the run game. And while they do like DJ Williams, they do like Sean Shivers, and they are both healthy and they have played well recently, they have not shown the same kind of physicality, same kind of pop as Tank Bigsby. So Auburn won't be without running backs, but it could be in a position where its best running back this season is not at 100%, and that's not the position you want going into the Iron Bowl.
Now, of course, Auburn does also have receivers, Josh, and the fastest guy, or one of the fastest guys in college football, is Anthony Schwartz, and Gus Malzahn wants to get this man the ball in a variety of ways, whether it's on jet sweep action, whether it's on slants or drag routes or taking deep shots with him downfield because of all that speed that he displays. So in this game, how many touches could you see for Schwartz in this game, and what truly makes him so dominant, especially when he gets out on the edge or when he's running routes or when he is in space? What makes him so unique as a player?
What makes him so unique is that if he gets going and he hits top speed, there really isn't a defensive back probably in the country that can keep up with him. If there are, it's a low number. I mean, this is a guy who set a junior boys world record in the 100-meter dash. He's an elite level sprinter. So when he gets going at full speed, he's hard to catch. Now, Auburn, especially early in the year, wanted to get him the ball really 2 main ways. There was a lot of get the ball to him quick and let him run, and a lot of deep shots down the field. And the underneath throws are very successful. He gains big chunks because he has that speed. The deep shots, him and Bo Nix just for a while did not really connect on those. There was a lot of misses. Bo Nix overshot him a lot, which is hard to do because he's so fast, but just not on the same page. But each of the last 2 games against LSU and Tennessee, Bo Nix hit him for 91 yards against LSU, 54 yards against Tennessee. Both deep shots where Schwartz got past the defense and no one could catch him. The ball was perfectly on target. So you're going to see Auburn try to take that shot in this game if they get it, because Alabama is as good as a defense as the rest of the SEC. But if Schwartz gets the full head of steam and gets past them, you got to take advantage of that because they are probably not going to be able to keep up with them.
If you're just tuning in, people, to the show on a Friday, in my own words, we got Josh Fatale on the hotline, in my own words hotline, covering the Auburn Tigers for the Montgomery Advertiser, part of the USA Today Sports Network. So Kevin Steele, Josh, he was at one point in time at Alabama. He's been at Auburn now the last 5 years. This is his 5th season, and he's done well in terms of scoring defense. This year, the Tigers giving up just 22 points per game. With Kevin Steele, is it more so blitzing? Is it more so zone coverage? Is it more so mixing it up? What has caused these players to really flourish here in this defense when you look at the type of schemer that Kevin Steele is?
It depends on the game. He does whatever is working, whatever works best in that certain matchup. And depends on the year, too. You look at last year, Auburn was very good at getting pressure with 4 because it had so many dominant defensive linemen, so it didn't blitz a ton. This year, the defensive line has struggled to get pressure, just rushing 4 at times. So you've seen him bring more linebacker blitzes, more safety blitzes. things like that. But the real strength of this defense this season has been in the red zone and in forcing turnovers. It's not as far as, yards per play and yards given up. It lets teams move the ball on it. It doesn't give up a ton of big plays, but it gives up, 10, 20-yard chunks, and it will allow teams, especially on third down, to move the ball down the field. Its third down defense, I believe, is one of the worst in the conference. But when it gets down to the red zone, when it gets time to keep a team off the scoreboard, it's done very well at that in terms of getting interceptions, getting key stops at key moments, turning defense into points, which is key. So that's been the strength of this defense this season. It's going to try to do that against Alabama and Mac Jones. Again, as I keep saying, that's going to be a different kind of challenge because Alabama and Mac Jones have put up more numbers offensively than any team Auburn's faced this season. But that's going to be the game plan is, they might give up some yards. They're going to give up some yards. But if they can get to the red zone, get stops in the red zone, force field goal attempts, or create turnovers, create havoc, and create points for their offense, that's going to be key in this game.
Big strength-on-strength matchup here when you look at Alabama's offense versus Auburn's red zone defense, pointed out there by Josh Fatale, who's with us via the In My Own Words hotline covering the Auburn Tigers for the Montgomery Advertiser, part of the USA Today Sports Network. Josh, we appreciate you coming on the shows, taking time out of your day to spend with us, giving us the lowdown on Auburn, what to expect from the Tigers in this matchup. You take care, stay safe, man. Continue to enjoy the rest of your holiday season here and enjoy the game tomorrow.
Yes, thanks so much. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Josh Vitale covering the Auburn Tigers for the Montgomery Advertiser, part of the USA Today Sports Network. Just having a conversation here on the Auburn Tigers and what to expect from Auburn in this matchup as it takes on the Crimson Tide. Alabama 7-0 on the season, going after win number 8 and trying to remain the number 1 team in the country. But we take a break right now on the show, but don't touch that dial, people. When we get back, we return to entertaining you, the Crimson Tide fan base. We take your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your super chats, your concerns, your ideas, even your vents when it comes to Alabama football. We get back to you and have a dialogue after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
And we are back in. We are back in from the break. Ladies and gentlemen, on the hottest show on the streets, the number 1 forum for Crimson Tide football news on the eve of the Iron Bowl game is tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. CBS will have the call on the matchup. If you haven't done so already, like the show up. Like it up, like it up, like it up. Give us a thumbs up there. Hit that subscribe button and also turn on all of those notifications so that way you can have the best and up-to-date information on your Crimson Tide. But before we return to the phone lines to take your calls, the call segment brought to you by the Blue Rich Gang, we got a couple of super chats to shout out, and both come from the man Richard G. Richard G donating that $10 in there via the Super Chats, giving us a pair of 5s. So appreciate Richard G there showing us the love here at TDA. But 205-448-1358, the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. We take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on tonight?
Hey, Steve, this is Robert from Mobile.
Robert, what's happening with you?
Hey, you'd ask if Pete Golden and the defense does a good job against Bo Nix. Will we, I guess, trust him going forward? Going forward to me means, next year. Okay, and that depends on how he handles the championship game and the playoffs. Now, I would feel better about the championship and the playoffs if he handles Auburn this weekend. Well, as he should. Because, again, like somebody caller said, Bo Nix is what made us frustrated last season is that Bo Nix is at best a mediocre quarterback. Usually when Alabama has a quarterback of the level of Bo Nix, they used to destroy him and make him look bad. But last year we didn't. He looked good against us and not bad, and he's only an average at best quarterback. He usually takes a Deshaun Watson or someone playing on that level to give Alabama a hard time. It used to be. When the Bo Nixes give us a hard time, okay, now there's something really wrong. And last year, Bo Nix did. Now, if he handles Bo Nix like he should this year, I agree with you, 20 points or less, that's how Bo Nix should be handled. Now, they would like, people say something about Mac Jones' 2 pick sixes. Well, with the offense as bad as Auburn had last year, that wouldn't have mattered, if Alabama's defense is playing like it should with a quarterback like Bo Nix. Now, you wouldn't want to give Deshaun Watson 2 pick sixes or Clemson's quarterback 2 pick sixes. Well, we should be confident. Okay, we gave it 2 pick sixes. That's all you're going to get with this team. But we couldn't get any stops. That was our problem on our defense. The defense couldn't get any stops last year. And in the Ole Miss game, we thought that kind of defense reared its ugly head again, where we couldn't get any stops, and that got us all anxious again. Now, with these last few games, we see the guys getting stops. We see the guys making tackles. We don't see running backs running out the backfield wide open and tight ends running wide open down the middle of the field. So that makes us feel better. And now, if he handles we handle Auburn, I believe we will handle Auburn tomorrow. The only word with Auburn is will we beat the spread, not will we win the game. I'm almost 100% probably we'll win the game. My only question is will we beat the spread, and I think we'll beat the spread. I think Mac Jones will have something to prove from last year, and he will prove it. And like you said, they're going to be this win one for the Gipper type attitude with Nick Saban not being there. And you got Sarkisian, hey man, you got 2 big time games to show that you are a big time coach. So here you go, and I think he'll come through with it as well.
I'm excited about it, Robert. I'm looking forward to seeing what this does here, on the field. But we appreciate the call, man. You keep listening to us. Keep enjoying your holiday, brother.
All right, man. You too.
Absolutely. Appreciate Robert there from Mobile. We take another call right now. You're live on the show. In my own words, what's going on?
Hey, Stephen M. How are you, sir?
Doing well, and yourself?
Good. Yeah, me and my son Owen are listening to you up in Buffalo, New York. So we just want to ask you a quick question. So we're pretty thrilled about this team this year. And we can't stop thinking about Jace McClellan specifically. I know it may be off topic, but he's a freshman. What do you think his prospects are for the next couple of years? Because I saw him last weekend, and we were just, stunned and thrilled to, see him play.
Jace McClellan has a very high ceiling. I mean, the guy was a 4-star coming out of high school in Aledo, Texas. He's got top-end speed, great top-end speed, good burst, great gear, a complete player, as Coach Saban called him. And after watching the game against Kentucky, what was going through my mind was the moment Alabama gets Trey Sanders back healthy, and you have Trey Sanders, Jace McClellan, and Roydell Williams, you would have the best trio since Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy.
That's crazy to think about.
It is. It is. And once Trey Sanders gets into that rehab and recovers from the accident he was involved in and the surgery he had to go through, once Trey gets back to 100% and you pair him back with McClellan and Williams, this backfield is going to be something nasty for years to come. I know a lot of fans were kind of wondering, what does Alabama have after Najee Harris? But the Kentucky game, watching McClellan, watching Williams, fans got back excited again, going, okay, Saban is still recruiting studs at the running back position.
That's the thing. One more thing real quick. I look forward to watching the last quarter of these blowouts because you can see all these new kids coming in to get their time. Like, I get excited for that now.
Oh, absolutely. It's fun to see the young freshmen on the field, and I mentioned this before, too. That was the weirdest thing about having a conference-only schedule because, with non-conference games, you could have the young players on the field get their shine. In the conference games, you're kind of fighting to get those guys on the field. But, my man, we appreciate the call. Keep listening to us.
So much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to love the young guys getting on the field, and hopefully we see some more young guys get an opportunity this week against Auburn. But we take our next call. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Steven. What's going on? It's Tobias from Fresno, man.
Tobias, what's happening with you?
Bro, nervous about this game tomorrow. I mean, everybody else is talking confident. I don't know. You got to help me, man. So it's Auburn. Nobody's talking about that voodoo that they bring with them. My thing is, I looked at this Notre Dame game. I don't know if you watched it, but they won. But I think they were playing with 5 with that UNC team, letting them stay around like that. I think we need to get up and then just take the air out of the ball with that good old Najee. That's my thought. That's what I'd like to see. I agree with the last caller. I think it was 2 callers ago that we're going to get the spread. I believe we'll get that. I think we'll win by 28, 30, something like that. I think it'll be up there. If we play a clean game in that first half, no penalties, keep it clean, don't give them any reason. Auburn is like unlike any other team. Every time we lose, Stephen, and you are a historian about it, you know this, we have to beat ourselves. I haven't seen us get beat. Even that Clemson game in the championship, to me, the way I looked at it, we killed us. We got down to the red zone multiple times and didn't have the right call, didn't execute. That was us against us. That's the way I look at it. And this will be the same thing, man. But I had a question for you because I heard you asking questions at those conferences. By the way, man, your question game is on point. You ask some of the best questions to give us real feedback as football watchers, man. You ask the best questions in that room. You and Cecil, might be one other, but you ask great questions. Here's my question to you. How does Nick Saban, you might have answered this already, how does Nick Saban being out motivate our guys? Because I think our guys are going to be highly, highly motivated tomorrow. What do you think?
I think Nick Saban being out motivates them even more because we do this for our coach now. Because Saban's been such a figure for 14 years, he kind of fancies himself as the Iron Man. He's never sick. He's never missing the game. He's always on that sideline, kind of like how Bear Bryant was. And when you're in that sort of mode like Coach Saban and he's not coaching the game, it's kind of weird for fans. But I look at these players. They're going to play hard for him. They're not going to let Steve Sarkisian fail in this game. They're not going to let Pete Golding fail in this game. I feel like these players, they're going to play with their hair on fire. They're going to be disciplined. This is going to be a good football game.
Man, I appreciate that. And let me ask you this, too. A couple more questions, just real quick. Do you have an inside track of knowing whether or not this is the game that Javon gets in and actually gets some targets at him? Because he got in the last game, and I'm just looking for this new freshman to take off him and Holden. And I know that they were trying to figure out, they had Slade in there, who's incredible as well, man. He's a beast. But he's doing that slot. And I know that Javon is bigger. So do you have any insight on whether or not they're going to use him? this game?
With Sark coaching this game, don't be surprised if he plays a lot more young guys and gets them the ball. With Sark coaching this game, don't be shocked if you see more guys, more young players take the field. Don't be shocked.
Got it. Okay, and then my last one, Dylan Moses. Hey, I would never come on and talk bad about no kid, because these are kids. That's something else we got to realize as fans. These are kids. These 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds. Love him. Love his story. I went back and looked at the film. I think he's still playing real kind of sensitive based on that injury. That's the only way I can call it, champ. I'm watching him be really tiptoeing, not really getting in there. He's getting to the ball most times. I think the last game he didn't register any tackles at all. So I'm a little bit worried about that. And I'm wondering if he doesn't make this the game, his coming out party, because he's supposed to be going to the NFL this year. And I'm just wondering, all of that holding back, if this is where he really gets that breakthrough. What are your thoughts about Dylan Moses, man, really stepping up this game?
He's going to have to. I mean, if he wants to still be looked at as a high draft pick, he's going to have to do something in this game, because we have not seen a Dylan Moses type game yet. So if he wants to do something, this is the game. He's got to get that done. But Tobias, man, as always, appreciate you calling in. Enjoy the rest of your holiday season, man, and enjoy the game tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we're going to go to a quick break right now, but when we come back, we continue your phone calls. Hold through the break. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we will get more of your phone calls. You're listening to In My Own Words.
Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, people, we're headed right back to the phone lines here after the break. 205-448-1358, the number to call in to let your voice be heard. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. 205-448-1358. We take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing? This your boy Jay Skills from Richmond. I'm back.
What's going on with you?
Man, nothing much. I'm missing being back at the crib. I'm missing being in Birmingham. Mom and them told me I can't come home because of the COVID situation, so I did what I had to do and stayed here. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we're about to beat the brakes off Auburn.
Beating the brakes off Auburn. How much you got the win by?
24 points.
24 points. Okay,
I got about 24. Yeah.
So you got them full on covering the spread.
All day, easy with the backups.
Okay, got them covering the spread with the backups. I feel you 100% on that, man. Hey, appreciate the call. Okay, appreciate that call right there. He's got Bama covering the spread. We take another call right now. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Steven? It's Steve Buford from Demopolis.
Okay, what's going on with you?
Nah, man, looking forward to the game tomorrow. Have you given a score prediction yet?
I have not given a score prediction yet. I've been working on one. But I find myself constantly changing it. So I will reserve mine to tomorrow morning.
I'm a little nervous about Saban not being there, but I kind of feel that we should be able to take the game.
Alabama should be able to take this one. I know it's different without Saban not being on the field, but he's prepared Sarkisian. Sark's been a head coach before, and like I said, these guys are going to play for Coach Saban. They're going to play for Coach Sark. I feel like tomorrow's match, it will be about how bad do you want it as an Alabama player? Because tomorrow's also senior day. So how bad do these seniors and how bad do these Alabama players really want it? Tomorrow's about the players.
Is the defense going to be all right, though? That's kind of what I want to make sure, too, though.
The defense and that side of the ball right there, it's how bad do they want it? And I honestly feel like they're going to show up. And not just show up, they're going to show up and have a big football game. Keep your eyes on two players defensively tomorrow, two players, and both on the defensive line. Watch Barmore 58 and Byron Young 47. I think both of those two are going to go off tomorrow.
Well, I'm be tuned in. 2:30. Got the grill out. Everything, man. We're going to be ready to roll time, man.
All right, man. Appreciate the call. You take it easy out there in Demopolis. Appreciate that call coming in there. As we're here live on the show in my own words, taking your calls. We get to another call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
How you doing?
Doing well, and yourself?
This is Cedric Delvers. I stay in Michigan right now.
Okay, Cedric, what's happening with you?
I'm just chilling. I'm a big Alabama fan. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I've been in Michigan for 20 years. I went to Carver High School, so I just I love your show, man. I watch it every day. I can't really talk because I'm surprised I'm on the line. I always miss it. I go on YouTube and watch it every day, you know.
I know, man. Hey, but congratulations to you, man. You live, baby. You made it big time.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about this wide receiver Alabama got down there this weekend, Xavier Word. I looked at him online, and he's a pretty bad boy.
He's a very, very talented. He's a very talented athlete, and it's not just him. You know, Alabama's hosting quite a few 2021 recruits this weekend for the Iron Bowl. Now, it's not going to be the same because, of course, the stadium's not going to be packed due to COVID, but Alabama wanted to give a lot of these 2021 guys a chance to experience an Iron Bowl feeling.
Right.
But the Worthy kid's good, man. He is immensely talented, but we appreciate the call, man. Thank you for calling in.
Okay, I want to say he reminded me of David Palmer from Jackson-Ola High School in Waller, you know?
That's some big praise right there, comparing him to David Deuce Palmer and Jalen Waddle. So Worthy going to have to bring it then. He going to have to bring it now.
Okay.
Appreciate that call. They're coming in all the way from Michigan, showing us some love here on the show. We go to our next call right now. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Steven, what's going on, man? This is Rich from Roanoke.
Rich, what's happening with you?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm sitting here worried, man. I'm nervous.
It's the Iron Bowl, man. You always have that little hint of nervousness when it comes to the Iron Bowl. But, I mean, I feel like this game is about the players. Coach Saban's not going to be out there. It's your chance to show him, even when you're not out there, Coach, we got you, we rocking with you, we playing for you. And this is a chance also for the players to, get fully behind Sark, which they have done all week in practice. So it's always a hint of nerves because Auburn is so unpredictable. But for me, sitting right here, I'm fine, Rich. I am okay.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. And I look at all the positives. The only negative I got out of the whole thing is, let's say I'm 33 years old, and as far back as I can remember, man, the Auburn-Alabama game, the Iron Bowl, I mean, that is just it. I mean, the guy that owns a gas station, they're not even from here. They're from another country. And he said, if you want to watch, a good game, he said, over there they play cricket. And he said, he named two countries. I forgot the names. But anyway, he said he tells the ones coming over here that if they want to see football, American football, that they watch Auburn and Alabama. I mean, even, people not even from this country know the Auburn-Alabama game is just the football game to watch. I mean, honestly, to a lot of people, and it sounds like the world, it's bigger than the Super Bowl. And I can't help but be nervous, man. This game isn't decided by, I know the spread is 21 points, and I hope we do. If you heard me Wednesday, I'm confident. And we have the advantage of being at home. That is what makes me feel better. Maybe that kills Saban not being there. And then, the players want to win for Saban. And, as long as Mac Jones goes out there, throws the ball, and Najee, I think that's very important. We need to run the ball tomorrow. And I'm first one to say that, during the game, I'll say run the ball. Then I get mad, and I want to see the bomb thrown. But tomorrow, we need to control the clock and just wear them down, because they're like us. They got a lot of injuries, but we wear them down. You get to the third, fourth quarter, then you should really start seeing us, because they're going to play the fourth quarter. I mean, this is their national championship. This is the Iron Bowl. This is the biggest game of the year. And, man, I want Mac to go out there and show off tomorrow. And I want Dylan Moses to stay on Bo Nix. I mean, I don't care what nobody says. I want to do whatever they're supposed to do, but I want to see Dylan Moses on Bo Nix putting pressure on him. Yeah, he might be Senator, my buddy. What did he say? He was 37% out of the pocket, 73. Yeah, 73 out of the pocket. Well, he might be great out of the pocket. That's because he don't get pushed out there all that much. But when he does make mistakes, bad mistakes, is out of the pocket. And after the game tomorrow, if we do what I say and we pressure him, you will see that Rich is right. We need to pressure Bo Nix and keep him on his toes, because when he gets to throwing, bad angles, he's not athletic like you seen Bryce throw the other night. How he just one defender off and then throws off half his body. Bo Nix is not talented like that. And I was so proud of Bryce for that throw. But we just put pressure on Bo Nix. We'll come out there tomorrow and let Najee run the ball and Matt throw a few bombs, and I'll feel a lot better. But I can't help being nervous. It's the Iron Bowl, man. I have seen this game go so many different ways. Gus Malzahn can account for 14 points because he is so smart with the rules and calling. It might be high school football they run, but that man is like he said, I heard you in the press conference, like you heard him say at the Auburn press conference, that he thinks about this game 365 days a year.
That was Coach Rich, man. Coach Rich. You got to love Coach Rich. We appreciate that call there coming from Rich out of Roanoke. Folks, we're going to get to a quick little topic here and then go to break. But before we get to the topic, we got a couple of super chats to shout out right now. We got Tobias Brookins coming in with that $10 with the super chats. Tobias Brookins, appreciate him. And we had one more super chat in there. Senator Hines coming in with that $5 via the super chats as well. The topic here right quickly, people, it goes to Landon Dickerson, the Alabama offensive lineman at center, has accepted his invitation to go to the Reese's Senior Bowl for 2021 down there in Mobile at Pebble Stadium. So kudos to Landon Dickerson getting that invitation, receiving that invitation, accepting the invite to the Senior Bowl. He will be down there with his buddy Deontay Brown, who recently accepted his invitation as well. We take one more call right now. That's coming into the queue. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen, how you doing this evening?
Doing fine, and yourself?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Just getting over the couple Thanksgiving meals I've had the last few days. But, yeah, I just wanted to get into that last call that Coach Rich was talking about. He brought up Dylan Moses early on. I don't know how many people were aware of this. I heard it from Kyle Henderson probably 3 or 4 days ago that Dylan Moses didn't even have anything show up on the stat line. And I was like, surely that's a misprint. And, I watched some of the highlights this past week, and, I mean, Dylan Moses just wasn't on any of them, so I looked it up for myself and saw that. And now, we're looking at this game in the Iron Bowl that, as we all know, he had to sit on the sideline for and watch as, Bo Nix had 170 yards passing on like 15 of 30 completions. It's not like he was wearing it out. I agree. Having to hit him out of the pocket I mean, that's where all their yards and plays were coming from. So, I mean, we got into a situation where, Alabama, for the first time, that season we had really thought, if it comes down to it, we don't know that our defense can make a stop. And there's been fewer than a handful of times where that's been the case at Alabama. And, Dylan Moses had to see that with two true freshmen at the middle linebacker spot, which is unprecedented and more than likely won't happen again, knock on wood, for a long time to come. So Dylan Moses is going to come in here and probably have 7 or 8 tackles, probably a couple tackles for loss. He's going to be all up in Bo Nix's face. And as we all know, Mr. William Anderson, he will be on the scene in a big-time way. Stephen, this is Clark. You can go ahead and just refer to me as the Georgia boy that happens to be a huge Alabama fan. So roll tide, Stephen. I got Auburn winning probably Alabama winning probably 48-21. Roll tide. Good guys going to win this one.
Appreciate the call there coming from Clark out of Georgia here, talking about Alabama, Auburn. We take another call right now on the show. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Stephen M., just a quick question, sir, because I know you're booked for time here. I had a lot I wanted to say, but this I need to know. Do you know who is going to be the additional coach on the sideline since Nick Saban's out?
I am not 100% sure. It could be Charlie Strong. It could not be Charlie Strong, but I know the rule book says when an important coach is out, like Nick Saban, an analyst could be able to be on the sideline. I'm not sure which analyst it would be, but if I had to guess, it very well may be Charlie Strong.
All right. Well, thanks, sir. I'll get out here and let some other calls come in. Thank you.
Appreciate that call there coming from Spencer Redley.
Right,
it could be Charlie Strong. I'm not 100% sure. It might be. It could be Butch Jones, but we do know one analyst when an important coach is out, not being able to make a game or misses that game, the team is allowed by the NCAA to promote one analyst or to have one analyst down there on the field to help the team. It's going to be fun to see who that person could be here in this matchup. But we definitely appreciate you guys calling in, chatting in, letting your opinions be known here on the eve of the Iron Bowl. We take our final break here on the show. Upon our return, I will get into my 5 most important pieces, my 5 most important factors going into this game for Alabama against Auburn right after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we are back in from the break on the #1 forum for Crimson Tide football news in my own words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Be sure to like the show up, like it up, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn those notifications on so that way you can have the latest on your favorite program, that being the Alabama Crimson Tide. But before we get into our final topic of conversation, got to remind you of tdaware.com. That is tdaware.com. Make us your one-stop shop, your plug, your store for all things Alabama apparel purchasing needs here. We got you covered with the I Love Hearing Touchdown Alabama shirts, the We Want Football shirts, Let Them Play shirts, hoodies of all kinds. So if you're trying to show your support for Nick Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at TDA, check out tdaware.com, tdaware.com. Get your clothing needs right there. But we look at now the 5 most important things, 5 most important pieces in this Iron Bowl, according to yours truly, according to Steven. So doing this now from 5 to 1 with the game tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. CBS having the call on the matchup from Bryant-Denny Stadium. At number 5, give me punter Charlie Scott. I know it's weird, but give me punter Charlie Scott. That's the number 5 most important piece. Why? Field position will play a role. Field position will play a critical role in this game. And with Nick Saban not being on the sideline for the first time in 14 years in coaching the Crimson Tide, Gus Malzahn will look to create any type of angle he can, and that includes special teams. Charlie Scott has got to be able to boom this ball, flip the field, set Auburn up in the most unpleasant field positions possible, and help that defense, allow that defense to be able to stuff the run game of Auburn, get pressure to Bo Nix, but field position will play a critical role. Charlie Scott got to flip the field, put Auburn in rough areas, and helping out the Alabama offense as well in trying to create field position for it also. But Charlie Scott, the punter, number 5, most important piece here for Alabama. Moving on up here to the 4th most important thing here for the Crimson Tide in this matchup. Got to go with the tandem of Dylan Moses and Christian Harris at inside linebacker. This is a game for the linebacker position for the Crimson Tide. As much as people put emphasis on the Alabama defensive line, and it's true, the likes of DJ Dale and LeBron Ray and Justin Aboigbe and Christian Barmore and Byron Young, those guys have got to read the football, get early penetration, blow plays up in the backfield, not get fooled by the pre-snap misdirection movements and maneuvers there that Malzahn likes to do. Follow the gap discipline, though that's important for the defensive line. These 2 linebackers and Harris and Moses, this is the how bad do you want it game. How bad do you want to win? How bad do you want to be physical? How bad do you want to beat Auburn in this matchup? Do you have the heart here in this game? These 2 have got to fly in, fight off blocks, knock plays, knock running backs, make plays in the backfield, shoot through the gap, nail players for tackles for loss. These 2 have got to be on their assignment, on their keys, not just putting people or other players in the right spots, but be in the right spots themselves, bring that wood, make these tackles. This is a hard, how bad do you want to be physical type of matchup from Dylan Moses and Christian Harris, and they've got to bring the wood. They got to bring the boomstick. They got to come with bad intentions in this matchup. So both of those 2, the number 4 most important piece here for the Crimson Tide. At number 3, we're going to go up the offensive line. This is going to be a physical game. People have talked about Auburn's defensive front all week, about Kevin Steele and this Auburn defensive front and this Auburn defensive line and what Auburn likes to do on that side of the football. This is the week for Alabama's offensive line. People have talked about it all year. Coaches have raved about it all year. This group is about being nasty, being mean, being dominant, being physical, controlling the line of scrimmage. This is the week for this offensive line and Kyle Flood to show this is a bad, bad group, and Kyle Flood is a bad, bad man as the offensive line coach. This is the day here. This is the game here for the big uglies up front, the Alabama offensive line, and setting up the rushing attack for Najee Harris, for Brian Robinson, for Jace McClellan, and for Roydell Williams. But not only just that, for setting up the pass protection game for one Mac Jones. Jones has only been sacked 7 times this year. Keep your eyes on Landon Dickerson, though. This is a game for him. Landon Dickerson, he fancies himself for these types of matchups. He's a physical guy. He is big in the trenches. He's a nasty guy. This is a dude that when he became a center last year, when he started 9 games at center, he solidified this group with his interior toughness. And I remember Deontay Brown spoke to reporters this week, and he talked about it. Landon Dickerson is a straight-up mauler, but he's got the intelligence. He's also got the feel for communication to make sure the calls are being made across the board, to make sure everybody's following their assignment and everybody is in the right spot. So the offensive line, mean, physical, nasty, set the tone in this game, and keep your eyes there on Landon Dickerson to do just that. At number 2, Mac Jones. Game for redemption, game for revenge for Mac Jones. Last year was his introduction to the Iron Bowl. This time around, a lot more knowledge, a lot more experience, a lot more confidence. He's ready to be on the other side of this rivalry this time around in terms of getting the win. Other side in terms of getting this victory and continue to push Alabama toward the SEC championship game and a college football playoff appearance. This is a huge matchup for Mac Jones. Don't need to force anything. Take the check down route if it's there. If Auburn's giving you the deep ball, hey, go up the deep ball, but not having to force anything in this matchup for Mac Jones. Take what the defense has been providing you, but if it happens to open up you a deep shot, take the opportunity to stretch the field. Number 2 there is Mac Jones, which leads us now to the number 1 most important piece here for this game for Alabama, Courtney, yours truly, is Steve Sarkisian. Coach Sark does not have to be Nick Saban. Be himself. Be Sarkisian. Go out there, run this offense the way you know how to run this offense from the offensive standpoint. The communication between Pete Golding, and Charles Kelly, that will be interesting to see. The interactions with Sark in terms of the defensive staff, but Sark knows what to do. He's been a head coach before. The fun part is going to be him talking with coaches, him adjusting plays, him having that conversation with coordinators, him talking to the team trainers, him talking to the team doctors, him talking to every player. So for the first time since 2015, he will have his hand in the whole pot trying to see is everybody on the same page. So that'll be interesting to see how he goes about that whole aspect. But Sark is fine. He's been preparing for this moment. He's been grooming for this moment. He's in Coach Saban's stead, but he doesn't have to be Coach Nick. Be Sarkisian. The players are behind you. The program's rallying behind you. Excited to see how Coach Sark does in his audition to prove he can be a head coach again at some point in the near future. But as always, Bama Nation, if you want the best in news, notes, and info and entertainment on your Crimson Tide, you know where to find it. You can access it by getting the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You can download that from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you have the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Monday continuing the conversation that is Tide football, but I'll also be back in here on tomorrow after the game for the post-game show. So tune in after the game tomorrow for the post-game show with yours truly and P-Money, Patrick Dowd, heading the phone line. So we got the post-game show on tomorrow. Also, be sure to check out the live game day chat on tomorrow where you can chat it up with the likes of the TDA staff, whether it's yours truly, myself, or John Ivory, or Patrick Dowd, Justin Smith, the entire TDA family. You can chat it up with us during the game, or you can chat amongst yourselves as the live game day chat puts you in the game day feel for the Crimson Tide on that field as your team is on that platform getting ready to win these football games. So that link will be found in the description for the game day chat. You can check that out. Also, shouts out to Jimmy Clay dropping in that $5 via the super chats. Appreciate that coming from Jimmy Clay. You can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine, have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. And also you can purchase that four-finger bling necklace, that four-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Also, stay tuned because after the show, we got the game day preview. The game day preview for Auburn, Alabama, or Alabama-Auburn with yours truly and one Patrick Dow. So stay tuned after the show as we are dropping the game day preview. Senator Hines comes in with that $2 via the super chats. Appreciate that coming from Senator. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, do those things legitimately now as it is the weekend to not be bored. Be sure to get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Continue enjoying the rest of your Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Until next time, folks, spit in my own words.